Before the world knew the Enfield Haunting, one terrifying night changed everything. What happened inside this house would shock investigators, terrify a family, and become one of the most chilling mysteries in history. Are you ready to discover the truth? In the summer of 1977, the Hodgson family's quiet life in Enfield, London, was shattered. Peggy Hodgson, a single mother, was raising her 4 children, Margaret, Janet, Johnny, and Billy, in a modest home on Green Street. They were ordinary people, never seeking attention, just hoping for peace. But something else was already there, lurking in the shadows. It started with Janet and Margaret complaining their beds were shaking. Peggy dismissed it as childish games, until the fear in their eyes told her otherwise. The next night, Peggy heard a loud shuffling from the girls' room. She found a heavy chest of drawers moved away from the wall. As she tried to push it back, it slid forward on its own. No one near it. That was the moment fear became real. The family huddled together, haunted by strange noises and the sense of being watched. They were prisoners in their own home, stalked by an invisible force. Peggy was helpless, unable to protect her children from something she couldn't see or fight. The haunting had begun, and the family was about to learn that some spirits refused to rest. The ordinary had become extraordinary and terrifying. The house was no longer a home, but a battleground. The Hodgsons' nightmare was only beginning. Every night brought new horrors. The family's hope for peace was gone, replaced by dread. They were trapped, desperate for answers. The haunting would soon become one of the most chilling cases in history, and the world was about to take notice. The activity escalated quickly. Loud, rhythmic knocking echoed through the house, answering questions with 1 knock for no, 3 for yes. The family sat frozen as the sounds followed them from room to room. Then, objects began to fly. Marbles, toys, even furniture. Chairs levitated, a sofa lifted, an icy draft swept through sealed rooms. The haunting focused on Janet, who was thrown from her bed and spoke in a voice not her own. The entity targeted her relentlessly, using her as a vessel for its games. Desperate, Peggy called the police. 2 officers arrived, skeptical, until one saw a chair slide across the floor by itself. She signed an official statement confirming the event. Now, it wasn't just the family's word. The law had witnessed it too. The Enfield Haunting was no longer a private nightmare. It was becoming one of the most documented paranormal cases ever. The family's fear was real, and now, so was the evidence. The haunting had crossed a line. The world was watching, and the terror was only growing. The Hodgsons were no longer alone in their ordeal. The case drew the attention of the Society for Psychical Research. Investigators Maurice Gross and Guy Lyon Playfair arrived, armed with cameras and recorders. The house performed for them. Flying objects, cold spots, and, most chillingly, a voice. During Janet's trances, a deep, guttural voice spoke through her. It claimed to be Bill Wilkins, a man who died in the house years before. He described his death in detail, going blind, suffering a hemorrhage, dying in a chair in the living room. The investigators confirmed Bill Wilkins had lived and died there. Tests ruled out ventriloquism. The voice persisted even with Janet's mouth taped shut. This voice became the centerpiece of the case. A direct, terrifying communication from beyond. The entity wasn't just moving things, it was telling its story. The haunting had a name, and it wanted to be heard. The evidence was undeniable. The Enfield case had crossed into the realm of legend. The investigation became a siege. Gross and Playfair moved in, documenting every knock and flying object. The The activity intensified. Objects bent around corners. Puddles appeared with no source. The haunting drew crowds. Neighbors, journalists, even a photographer hit by a flying Lego. The house became a spectacle, but for the Hodgsons, it was hell. Janet's apparent levitation was captured in photos. Skeptics called it a jump, but witnesses insisted it was real. The family was exhausted, terrified, and isolated. The media painted them as frauds, adding to their torment. The haunting was now psychological warfare, tearing the family apart. The children feared their own rooms. Peggy was powerless to protect them. The investigators were part of the chaos, not just observers. The house was alive with anger. The battle for Janet's soul was on full display. The Enfield Haunting was no longer just a story. It was a crisis. As the case gained fame, skepticism grew. Many believed the girls faked the haunting for attention. Janet admitted to faking some events. About 2%, she claimed. For skeptics, this was proof enough. But investigators argued the girls couldn't have faked everything. Heavy furniture moving, the deep voice, or the police officer's testimony. The raw fear in the family was undeniable. Their terror was real, not the joy of pranksters. The psychological trauma was profound. Skeptics could explain away tricks, but not the lasting fear. The case was tainted by doubt, but not dismissed. Too many credible witnesses had seen too much. The truth remained elusive. The Enfield Haunting was a mystery, hoax, haunting, or both. After nearly 2 years, the haunting faded as mysteriously as it began. The family found peace, but the scars remained. They were forever marked as the haunted family. The story inspired books, documentaries, and The Conjuring 2. The debate continues. Real haunting, elaborate hoax, or something in between. Janet maintained it was real. Investigator Maurice Gross believed until his death. The events changed everyone involved. The Enfield Haunting remains unsolved, with evidence on both sides. For 2 years, the family was terrorized by something they couldn't explain. The house still stands, a silent monument to fear. Mystery endures, chilling new generations. Sometimes the most terrifying stories are the ones that might be true.